Hey y'all, it's Kate from LoveStory, and today I'm going to talk about DNFs, did not finish or do not finish. So as you know from previous videos, I have previously not had many on my DNF list because I have had this weird brain thing where I had to finish books. But Howard, my boyfriend, the other half of LoveStory, has finally convinced me to enter the DNF world. And so today I just want to talk about a couple books on my DNF list. Some that I have that are DNFs, and some that I wish were DNFs, and some that were at once DNFs, but then I have ended up finished, and I'm glad I did. And so I'm hoping this will be just a short video because I don't like to talk too negative about books because it's still things that authors put their heart into and spent a lot of time working on. So I don't like to talk too negatively about books. But just a quick DNF video because I'm new to this world and kind of excited to enter it. It feels like a whole new world to me. So my new rule is I'm going to give a book about 100 pages depending on where that chapter falls, either slightly before or slightly after 100 pages usually. And if I still want to continue reading, then I will, but if I don't, then I'm just gonna end it. And it feels exciting and weird to enter this world, and all of you are all probably thinking like she's crazy to go 30 some years, what am I, 35 years without really DNFing many books. It's crazy, I know, but just bear with me for this. So on my current DNF list is now Revenge Wears Prada, The Devil Returns by Weisberger. This is the second book of the Devil Wears Prada series, and as you've seen from previous videos, I didn't like The Devil Wears Prada at all. And I will talk about that in just a minute. But The Revenge Wears Prada is still too focused on Andy. She's so self-centered and selfish and whiny. Even though it's less whiny than the first, it's still whiny, and she's just whining about her privileged life, and I can't take it anymore. And that's really what pushed me into entering the DNF world. Is I was complaining about these books way too much, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? So that's one of my current DNFs. Other DNFs from previous readings that I just couldn't finish were We Were Soldiers Once, and I'll put all of these books in the description too so you can go back and look. We Were Soldiers Once, which is about, I think, the Vietnam War, I want to say, Korea maybe. It was just too heavy for me. I have a lot of military in my family and my ancestors, and I just couldn't handle the topic. It was too real for me, which is weird to say for a nonfiction writer and reader, but I just couldn't do it. And the other book that I can think of, there's probably more, but these are the three that I can think of right now on my DNF list, is Lovely Bones. And that book, I just can't deal with missing children or dismembered children, dead children. I don't know who actually enjoys that subject. A lot of people, I guess, in a weird way, enjoyed this book, but I just couldn't do it. Maybe I'll go back to it someday, but for the foreseeable future, no, I can't do it. So that's the current DNF list. I also have a wish I had DNF'd list, which, let's just talk about it. Get the elephant out of the room. The Devil Wears Prada. Obviously, you've heard me talk about this so much. This one is in first person, and it was just a bear to get through. I couldn't do it. I don't know how I did it. I just pushed through half the book. I don't think I even really read. I was just looking at the pages and flipping when I thought I got to the end. It was all whining about a privileged life, about how Andy thought she could just walk into the writing world straight out of undergrad and not do any work and just get a high-profile job at the New Yorker, and was mad when she had to do work, and didn't know anything about fashion but knew all these brands. And it was just, the writing was not good, the editing was not good, it was not good. I wish I didn't force myself to continue reading it. Another one, 50 Shades of Grey. why? Why did I finish reading that? I didn't enjoy it at all. I was disgusted by it. I couldn't do it. Why? The Twilight series, every one of those books I've read, and I think in my weird depression, one of my weird depression phases, I liked some of the books just because I was in that depressive mode, but I still, if I was in the same mentality, I probably wouldn't have finished because the writing was just so bad. If the writing was better, I would have enjoyed it better, but the writing was just so bad, I couldn't deal with it. And also, you've heard me talk about A New Earth, and like I said, maybe it was the edition that I had. It was just so bad writing, so bad editing. It was so bad. I couldn't. Why did I finish it? I shouldn't have, but I did. And the last category I want to talk to, which I only have one book in there right now, because I didn't prepare very well for this video. I just was so excited to talk about it that I just jumped right in, is my books that I had previously DNF'd but ended up finishing at some point. And the one book I have in here is Ulysses by James Joyce. And this is a common DNF book. Many people have DNF'd this book because it's so hard to read. And I had this book on my DNF for the longest time, but I've heard such great things about James Joyce's writing, and I've read other books by him, mainly A Portrait of an Artist, a Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, I think is the title. And so I went back and I actually listened to the audiobook version of Ulysses, and what an amazing difference. I was able to appreciate Ulysses like I wanted to, without having to get bogged down in the writing and getting distracted by the incredibly long sentences that aren't really sentences, just like complete lines without punctuation, and figuring out who is who, because in the one that I listened to, it had different voices for different characters, so you were able to somewhat keep track of all the different characters, who's talking and when. And so I actually recommend, if there's a book that you have trouble getting through, and I'm going to do another video on audiobooks coming up sometime this week, maybe. I recommend listening to the audiobook version, which most books these days I think have audiobook versions, and seeing if that makes a difference. It's helped in a couple of different books that I've had. Wolf Hall was also a book that I had a hard time reading the physical copy. I did finish it, I didn't DNF it, but I also listened to the audiobook version of it when I was done reading the physical copy, and it was such a big difference. So I am very excited to enter the world of DNFs. It's weird that I've lasted this long in it. There's something like a sense of pride for me in a weird way that I hardly ever DNF'd books. But now that I'm in this world, I anticipate doing it a lot more. Let me know what books you've got on your DNF list. Let me know what books you're glad you didn't DNF or wished you had DNF'd. If you've read any of these books I've mentioned, let me know what you thought of them. Maybe I'm missing something, or maybe we all just feel the same way about these books. Anyways, that's it for now. I look forward to discussion about DNFing, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.